Ever feel stuck, like you're drowning in debt and ramen noodles? What if I told you a story about a guy who turned that struggle into a multi-million-dollar empire? This isn't a fairy tale. It's the real-life journey. It's the real-life journey of how an ordinary, broke college student cracked the code to wealth. Meet Jake. He wasn't born with a silver spoon or even a trust fund. His reality was far more common. A mountain of student loans looming over him, a part-time job that barely covered rent, and a diet consisting primarily of instant ramen. Jake was the epitome of the average young American facing financial hardship. He was enrolled at State University, a sprawling campus nestled in the heart of a bustling college town. The town thrived on the energy of its student population, but beneath the surface of late-night pizza runs and football games, many students, like Jake, were quietly battling financial anxieties. His dorm room, a cramped space shared with a roommate who had an uncanny ability to sleep through anything, felt more like a prison cell than a haven. The walls were bare, save for a faded poster of a tropical beach, a constant mocking reminder of the vacations he couldn't afford. The air usually hung thick with the aroma of cheap spices and desperation. The weight of his debt was a constant companion, a dull ache in the back of his mind that intensified whenever tuition bills arrived. He worked tirelessly at a local diner, flipping burgers and scrubbing greasy grills, but the meager paycheck barely made a dent in his accumulating interest. Each month felt like a losing battle, a frantic attempt to stay afloat in a sea of red ink. One particularly bleak evening, Jake sat hunched over a steaming bowl of ramen, the fluorescent lights of the dorm kitchen casting harsh shadows on his face. He was mentally calculating his expenses for the month, a depressing ritual that always ended the same way, with him further in the hole. Another month, another ramen-fueled existence, he muttered to himself, pushing the noodles around with his fork. His friend, Mike, a perpetually optimistic engineering student, plopped down across from him. "Rough day?" he asked, noticing the grim expression on Jake's face. Jake sighed, running a hand through his already disheveled hair. "Rough life, more like. I feel like I'm working just to pay off interest. I'll never get ahead." Mike, ever the pragmatist, offered a sympathetic ear. "Dude, I get it. College is expensive, but you can't let it crush you. You gotta find a way to fight back." "Fight back? How?" Jake retorted, his voice laced with frustration. "I'm already working every hour I can. What else can I do? Sell a kidney?" Mike chuckled, but his eyes held a serious glint. "Okay, maybe not that, but have you thought about entrepreneurship? You're smart, resourceful. There's gotta be something you can do to make some extra cash." Jake scoffed. "Entrepreneurship? Me? I don't have any brilliant ideas or startup capital. I can barely afford ramen, remember?" "Think smaller," Mike countered. "Think local. What does this town need? What skills do you have or could learn?" Jake pondered this for a moment, swirling the broth in his bowl. He had always been good with computers, ever since he was a kid. He knew his way around software and could troubleshoot most technical issues. But was that enough to build a business? Later that night, after Mike had left, Jake found himself unable to shake the conversation. He sat at his desk, the glow of his laptop illuminating his face, and began to idly browse the internet. He started by researching different online business models, from affiliate marketing to e-commerce. Nothing really clicked. Then, almost by accident, he stumbled upon a local business directory. He started clicking through the websites of businesses in his college town, the small boutiques, the family-owned restaurants, the independent bookstores. What he found was underwhelming. Many of the websites were outdated, poorly designed, or simply non-existent. A spark flickered in Jake's mind. He remembered the owner of the diner where he worked, Mrs. Henderson, complaining about how she couldn't attract new customers because her website was stuck in the Stone Age. He also recalled a conversation with the owner of a local bookstore, who lamented the fact that he couldn't compete with Amazon because he didn't have an online presence. He started researching website development, devouring articles and tutorials on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. He discovered a wealth of free online resources, Codecademy, Free Code Camp, YouTube tutorials that offered comprehensive training in web design. The more he learned, the more excited he became. It was challenging, yes, but also incredibly rewarding. He was building something, creating something tangible. He spent hours hunched over his laptop, practicing coding, experimenting with different designs, and learning the intricacies of web development. He built mock websites for imaginary businesses, honing his skills and refining his techniques. As he delved deeper into the world of web design, Jake's nightmares began to change. The crushing weight of debt was still there, but now it was accompanied by images of tangled code, broken websites, and demanding clients. One particularly vivid nightmare involved him being chased through a virtual maze by a giant pixelated dollar sign. He would wake up in a cold sweat, his heart pounding in his chest, the fear of failure gnawing at him. But then he would remember the potential, the opportunity to escape his financial prison, and he would force himself to get back to work. One morning, after a particularly grueling shift at the diner, Jake confessed his plan to his mom during their weekly phone call. Her response was lukewarm at best. "Web design, Jake? Is that even a real job? Why don't you focus on your studies and get a good, stable career?" Her skepticism stung, but it also fueled his determination. He knew he had to prove her wrong, not just for himself, but for everyone who doubted him. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he was willing to sacrifice sleep, social life, and even the occasional meal to make it happen. He viewed the next month with intense enthusiasm. The ramen dreams were slowly fading, replaced by a new vision. A vision of financial independence, of creative fulfillment, and of a future where he was in control of his own destiny. The debt nightmares, however, were still there, a constant reminder of the stakes. But now, they were accompanied by a new emotion: hope. Jake hunched over his laptop, the glow illuminating his determined face. Empty ramen containers littered his desk, a testament to his dedication. He was officially diving headfirst into the world of web development. The Free Code Camp curriculum became his Bible, the HTML and CSS tutorials his daily bread. He spent hours wrestling with code, lines of text blurring into an incomprehensible mess. There were moments of sheer frustration, times when he wanted to hurl his laptop across the room. He'd spend an hour debugging, only to find a single misplaced semicolon was the culprit. Doubt gnawed at him. Was he cut out for this? Was he wasting his time? He remembered the faces of his parents, etched with worry as they talked about his mounting student loans. He recalled the condescending smirk of his economics professor when he dared suggest entrepreneurship as a viable career path. Those memories fueled him. He wasn't just learning code. He was fighting for his future. Late one night, bleary-eyed and fueled by caffeine, something clicked. The seemingly random strings of characters started to make sense. He built a simple web page showcasing his, admittedly basic, skills. It wasn't pretty, but it was functional. It was his. A wave of pride washed over him, chasing away the self-doubt. Now came the daunting task of finding clients. Jake knew his skills were rudimentary compared to seasoned web developers, but he had one advantage: he was cheap. He crafted a simple flyer advertising affordable websites for local businesses and plastered them around town: coffee shops, laundromats, community centers. He even braved the awkwardness of cold-calling businesses, his voice trembling slightly as he pitched his services. Rejection was common. Many business owners brushed him off, skeptical of a college kid offering web design. Some didn't even understand the importance of having a website. But Jake persevered, fueled by the memory of his ever-growing debt. Then, a stroke of luck. He walked into Mama Rosa's Bakery, a small, family-owned business known for its delicious pastries and old-world charm. Mama Rosa listened patiently to his pitch. Her current website was a relic of the early 2000s, a GeoCities-esque monstrosity of flashing GIFs and Comic Sans font. Jake offered to build her a modern, mobile-friendly website at a fraction of the cost of a professional agency. Mama Rosa, charmed by his enthusiasm and impressed by his portfolio, the one simple web page he'd created, agreed. Working with Mama Rosa was a crash course in client management. She had strong opinions about everything, from the color scheme to the font size. Jake learned to balance her vision with his design sensibilities, patiently explaining the importance of user experience and responsive design. He poured his heart and soul into Mama Rosa's website. He photographed her pastries, wrote compelling descriptions, and optimized the site for local search. When the website finally launched, Mama Rosa was ecstatic. Her customers loved the new design, and online orders started pouring in. The success of Mama Rosa's website was a turning point. It was tangible proof that Jake's skills were valuable, that he could actually make money doing this. Mama Rosa, in turn, became his biggest advocate, spreading the word about his services to other local businesses. Soon, Jake was juggling classes, homework, and a growing list of clients. He was overwhelmed, but in a good way. He realized he couldn't do it all alone. He needed help. He approached two of his classmates, Emily and David, both of whom had expressed an interest in web development. Emily was a coding whiz with a knack for front-end design, while David was a marketing guru with a silver tongue. Jake pitched them his vision, a student-run web design agency that offered affordable and effective solutions for local businesses. Emily and David were intrigued. They were both struggling to find internships in their respective fields, and the idea of building something from the ground up was appealing. They agreed to join Jake, forming a scrappy but determined team. With Emily and David on board, Jake's business started to scale. Emily streamlined the design process, creating templates and reusable code modules. David focused on marketing and sales, cold-calling businesses, and networking at local events. Jake, meanwhile, focused on project management and client communication. He learned to delegate tasks, manage deadlines, and keep clients happy. He also started exploring more advanced web development techniques, such as SEO, search engine optimization, and e-commerce integration. He realized that simply building websites wasn't enough. He needed to help his clients attract customers and grow their businesses. He invested in SEO tools and started offering SEO services as an add-on. One of his new clients was a local bookstore struggling to compete with online retailers. Jake redesigned their website, optimized it for local search, and launched a targeted social media campaign. Within a few months, the bookstore's online sales skyrocketed. Seeing the tangible results of his work was incredibly rewarding. It wasn't just about the money. It was about helping local businesses thrive. He was making a real difference in his community. As his business grew, Jake made a conscious decision to reinvest his profits wisely. Instead of splurging on a new car or designer clothes, he invested in better software, online courses, and marketing materials. He knew that the key to long-term success was continuous learning and strategic investments. He also diversified his services. He started offering social media management, email marketing, and content creation. He understood that his clients needed a comprehensive digital marketing strategy, not just a website. One day, he landed a contract with a regional restaurant chain. It was his biggest client yet, a game changer that would catapult his business to a whole new level. He and his team worked tirelessly, building a stunning website and developing a comprehensive marketing campaign. The restaurant chain was thrilled with the results. Their online traffic soared, and their sales increased dramatically. Jake's reputation as a skilled and reliable web developer spread like wildfire. Looking at his bank account one evening, Jake was stunned. He had paid off almost all of his student loan debt. He was earning 6 figures annually before graduating college. A wave of disbelief washed over him. Just a year ago, he was drowning in debt, eating ramen noodles and feeling hopeless. Now, he was a successful entrepreneur, running a thriving business and financially independent. He had cracked the code. He was no longer just surviving, he was thriving. And he knew, deep down, that this was just the beginning. One of Jake's investments paid off big when one of his clients, the Book Nook, a local bookstore, experienced a significant online sales boost. Jake had implemented a targeted SEO strategy, focusing on local authors and book clubs. The result was a surge in website traffic and, more importantly, a substantial increase in revenue for the bookstore. The owner, Mrs. Gable, was ecstatic, calling Jake personally to express her gratitude. "Jake, you've saved my business," she'd said, her voice thick with emotion. "I was worried about competing with the big online retailers, but you've brought my bookstore back to life." Word of Jake's success with the Book Nook spread like wildfire through the local business community. Larger businesses, initially hesitant to trust a college student, began to take notice. Jake's phone started ringing off the hook. He found himself fielding calls from restaurants, clothing stores, and even a small manufacturing company. The game had officially changed. The turning point came when Jake received an email from Burger Bliss, a regional restaurant chain with locations across 3 states. They were looking for a complete website overhaul and a comprehensive digital marketing strategy to boost their online presence and attract a younger demographic. Jake spent days preparing a detailed proposal, outlining his vision for Burger Bliss's online presence, showcasing his past successes, and emphasizing his understanding of their target audience. He even included mock-ups of redesigned website pages and sample social media campaigns. His hard work paid off. Burger Bliss awarded him the contract. The Burger Bliss project was a whirlwind. Jake assembled his team, Emily and David, and brought in a few more talented freelancers he'd met through online web development communities. They worked tirelessly, designing a sleek, modern website with online ordering capabilities, creating engaging social media content, and implementing targeted advertising campaigns. It was a demanding project, filled with late nights and stressful deadlines, but Jake thrived under the pressure. The results were astounding. Within the first month of the new website launch, Burger Bliss saw a 30% increase in online orders and a significant boost in brand awareness. Their social media engagement skyrocketed, and they started attracting a younger, more tech-savvy customer base. The success of the Burger Bliss project not only brought in substantial revenue for Jake's company, but also solidified his reputation as a rising star in the web development world. The influx of cash from the Burger Bliss contract allowed Jake to finally pay off almost all of his student loan debt. It was a moment of profound relief and satisfaction. He remembered those nights of eating ramen noodles and worrying about how he would ever escape the burden of debt. Now, he was debt-free, financially independent, and running a successful business, all before graduating college. One evening, Jake sat on his apartment balcony overlooking the campus. a sense of calm washing over him. He reflected on his journey, acknowledging the challenges he had faced and the lessons he had learned along the way. The long hours, the self-doubt, the initial struggles to land clients. It had all been worth it. He realized that his success wasn't just about coding websites or creating marketing campaigns. It was about hard work, continuous learning, and calculated risk-taking. He thought back to his conversation with Mike, the one that sparked this whole journey. Mike had said, "You've got nothing to lose, Jake. What's the worst that could happen?" That simple encouragement had been the catalyst for everything. Jake understood now that sometimes all it takes is a little nudge and the willingness to take a chance to unlock your potential. The university's business department invited Jake to share his story at a local college entrepreneurship event. He was initially hesitant, feeling like an imposter among seasoned entrepreneurs, but he realized that his story could inspire other students to pursue their own business ideas. Standing on the stage, facing a room full of eager young faces, Jake shared his journey from a debt-ridden college student to a successful entrepreneur. He spoke candidly about the challenges he had faced, the mistakes he had made, and the lessons he had learned. He emphasized the importance of identifying a need in the market, developing valuable skills, and being persistent in the face of adversity. "Don't be afraid to fail," he told the audience. "Failure is just an opportunity to learn and grow. The most successful people are the ones who have failed the most, but they never gave up." He offered practical advice about starting a web development business, including tips on marketing, pricing, and client management. He also stressed the importance of building a strong team and surrounding yourself with people who believe in your vision. After his speech, students swarmed him with questions, eager to learn more about his success. He patiently answered each question, sharing his insights and offering encouragement. He realized that his story had resonated with them, giving them hope and inspiring them to pursue their own entrepreneurial dreams. Inspired by the positive response to his talk, Jake decided to establish a scholarship fund to support aspiring student entrepreneurs from disadvantaged backgrounds. He knew firsthand the challenges of starting a business with limited financial resources, and he wanted to provide opportunities for others to overcome those obstacles. He also created a mentorship program, pairing experienced entrepreneurs with students who were just starting out. He wanted to give back to the community that had supported him along the way. Jake understood that financial success was not just about making money. It was about using resources responsibly and creating positive change in the world. He encouraged his employees and fellow entrepreneurs to donate their time and resources to local charities and community organizations. He believed that businesses had a responsibility to make a positive impact on society. During one of his mentoring sessions with a student named Maria, who was struggling to balance her studies with her budding online jewelry business, Jake emphasized the importance of ethical business practices. "It's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of profit," he said, "but you should never compromise your values. Always treat your customers, employees, and suppliers with fairness and respect." He shared a story about a time when he was tempted to cut corners on a project to increase his profit margin. But he realized that doing so would compromise the quality of his work and damage his reputation. He ultimately decided to do the right thing, even though it meant making less money. "In the long run," he said, "integrity is always the best business strategy." As Jake's business continued to thrive, he realized that he had the opportunity to create a lasting impact on his community and beyond. He began exploring ways to use his skills and resources to address social and environmental challenges. He partnered with a local nonprofit organization to develop a website that connected volunteers with community service opportunities. He also implemented sustainable business practices in his own company, reducing waste and conserving energy. One afternoon, while visiting Mrs. Gable at the Book Nook, Jake noticed a flyer for a web development course being offered at the local community college. An idea sparked in his mind. He approached the college president and proposed teaching a course on web development for small business owners. The president was thrilled with the idea, recognizing the value it would bring to the community. Jake spent weeks developing a curriculum that would provide students with the practical skills and knowledge they needed to build their own websites and market their businesses online. He recruited Emily and David to help him teach the course. The course was a huge success, attracting a diverse group of students from all walks of life. Many of his students went on to start their own successful businesses, creating jobs and boosting the local economy. Looking out at the students, Jake smiled, knowing he had come full circle. He had started his journey as a broke college student, struggling to make ends meet. Now, he was a successful entrepreneur, inspiring others to pursue their dreams and build a better future. He raised his voice to the crowd. Now, I challenge all of you. Go into your communities and create your own businesses. Take my classes and learn to build your own website. There's nothing stopping you from achieving your goals.